Hi, this is Aaron Davinsky coming to you today from the Chutz Shel Chesed Yeshiva in the holy city of Yerushalayim in a beautiful state of Israel. I told you last time we were going to be talking about Pesach for the time going up to Pesach. So we'll talk about some things today that are partially involved with Pesach, but go a step further. Now we remember when Moshe Rabbeinu and Aaron went before the king of Egypt, they showed them things, sort of signs that the king would be awed by, and he would make a decision maybe to let the people go. He tried first with the serpents. The serpents was a good start. Pharaoh was impressed, but then he brought his necromancers and his magicians in, and they did the same thing, so he was no longer impressed. Then Moshe took his hand, and he put it underneath his clothes, and brought it out, and it was white. It was leprosy. It was leprosy. Tazriya. Saras. It was leprosy. And they put it back in and it came out clean. These are warnings. Hashem is very big on warnings. Throughout Torah, he gives us warnings. He gives us warnings before the plagues, each of the plagues. They were warned. The king of Egypt was warned that there was going to be another plague if he didn't let the people go. He never did they didn't just come upon him. Excuse me. These are warnings. Each one was a warning, and each one was ignored. Let's hope that we are better off and a little bit smarter, that we take the warnings for what they are. Now, the last week and this week in Torah, we're talking about tsaras and matzorah. And tsaras is usually defined as leprosy. So now, the Torah has become what? A medical journal. How to get rid of certain problems that we have. Medical journal. You get rid of leprosy. What do you do if you have leprosy? You go to a doctor. And the doctor gives you treatments, salves or medicines or whatever he gives you to get rid of the leprosy. And hopefully, if it's the right prescriptions, you get better. Now, I tell you that tsaras is defined as leprosy, and that's a common usage of it. And although it may have the appearance of leprosy, it is not leprosy. What is the big difference? The big difference is, as I said before, with leprosy, you go to a doctor, and he fixes it for you by giving you salves to put on it. He gives you medicines to take. How do you fix tsaras? Do you go to the doctor? Not according to Torah, you do not. You go to the Kohen. You go to the high priest. So now the high priest has become doctors. No. The reason you go to one for one and to go the other one for the other one is because it's a physical infirmity, leprosy. So it gets taken care of by a physical doctor in a physical way. When you have tsaras, it's not a physical infirmity. It is a spiritual infirmity. Where does it come from? Well, there are those who say, and it is proven in places in Torah, it comes from lashon hara. You said the wrong thing about the wrong person to the wrong person. There was a very wise person about half a century ago, and they said that small minds talk about people, average minds talk about things and events, and above average minds talk about ideas. So you can see talking about people is the lowest level, even in another world. Talking about people can cause the biggest problems. That's why we have to be very careful what we say, and sometimes it's better to say nothing at all. My father used to always say, it's better to keep your mouth shut and have people think you're a fool than to open it and remove all doubt that you are a fool. So we had to do that when we were kids. Meanwhile, we are taught about tsaras. We are taught about a spiritual infirmity, because there is nothing that is prescribed in Torah of a physical nature to take care of this. The Kohen comes. He looks at it. He says, "Yep, you got it." So I'll be back in about a week, and let's see where it goes then. Why is he coming back in a week? What are you supposed to do during this week? Just sit there and look at it? No. You have a task also. The task is implied. You need to do teshuvah. You need to do teshuvah. You need to do a total cheshbon nefesh, see who you've hurt, what you've done, and do teshuvah by talking to them about it from a distance and by talking to Hashem about it. As we always talk about, your forgiveness has to come first from mankind, and then HaKadosh Baruch Hu will give you his forgiveness as well, if you're able to get that. What if they won't give you their forgiveness? Well, as long as you tried in an honest effort, and they still want to be stubborn about it, then you've done what you were supposed to do. Again, this is to go to the first week. He comes back, he looks at it, he says, wow, look at that. No change. Okay, I'll come back in another week and I'll take a look at it again. Okay, the idea is maybe you didn't have time to do the teshuvah you needed to do. Maybe you didn't do it the right way. Maybe you forgot something. You can now have the chance to correct it. It can go away. So Ras also, by the way, is not just a physical infirmity. It can be something that can affect your home as well. Your home can turn green. You could lose your home and things in your home and leather things. There's a whole list of things you could lose because you have this infirmity, and it has to go away. And the only way to get you to make it go away sometimes is for Hashem to give you another warning and say, hey, you haven't done what you're supposed to do yet. If you don't do it, this is going to continue. And plus, it's a very humbling experience because as you walk around and you see anybody coming close to you, you have to yell out, unclean, unclean. Does that take some humility? You bet it does. It tells people that there's something wrong with you. And if that's wrong with you, what did you do to get that? That part will make you think about the next time you might open your mouth and say the wrong thing about somebody. So you don't want to do it. It's best to not say anything. If you can't say something good about somebody, don't say anything at all. And even if you can say something good about them, sometimes what you think is good is not always good. For example, a man comes into a town and he's hungry and he doesn't have what to buy food with. So he asks one of the passers-by, do you know where I can get something to eat? And the passerby says to him, oh yeah, the Schwartz is up on the hill. They've always got something cooking on the stove. Now, he thought, giving him the benefit of the doubt, that he was giving a compliment to these people, that they always have something cooking on the chance that somebody might come through and need something to eat. However, it could be taken another way. The Schwartzes always have something cooking on the stove because that's why they're as fat as they are. That's why they're as big as they are. That's why they have other problems that they have. See, the problem is, by saying something, you don't know the ramifications of it and you don't know where it can go. Now, when we talk about Lashon Hara, Lashon Hara is awful. A very famous Rav once took his students out to demonstrate how bad Lashon Hara was and why it should be avoided at all costs. And he took them with a pillow, and he told them, cut the bottom of the pillow off. And they did. And he said, okay, now shake it. And all the feathers went all over the place. And then he said to them, okay, now go get all the feathers and put them back in the pillow. Well, that's ridiculous. It's impossible. How are you going to find every single feather that came out of that pillow? He said that's exactly the problem we have with Lashon Hara. We don't know where it's going to go. And it can hurt people, and hurt people you hadn't even thought about hurting just by association. The whole idea is not a good idea. Now, understand, the Torah was not mentioned just here. It was mentioned later on with regard to Miriam, the sister of Moshe. And Miriam was a high priestess. She was somebody. She was extremely important. She said something, and Hashem afflicted her for it. And that's exactly, if you know the davening we do, that's where the phrase "Keil na rafan Allah," please heal her. That was Moshe Rabbeinu praying for his sister. So it comes up again. Hashem warns us here. He warns us here. He warns us here. Do we get it? No. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. If we don't get it, well, maybe there's something more personal that would make us understand why it's important not to do Lashon Hara. If you're not easily frightened by the possibility of a leprosy-like type of infection, let's think about this. Most of us work all day long trying to do mitzvot. all the mitzvot we can do, we add to it and add to it and add to it. Well, if you speak lashon hara about somebody, you've just in effect given them all of your mitzvot for today. You have none left, unless you do something afterwards. Do you want to do that, really? Do you really want to give your mitzvot to somebody you would speak evil about, to somebody you would speak badly about? Is this really what you want to do? I don't think so. Neither do I. Neither does anybody. So it's something we need to be very, very careful of. Remember, throughout Pesach, throughout the process of Pesach, we warned again and again and again, and not just by the tzara'as, but by the plagues, etc., etc., and the list goes on. As we talked about before, 80% of the Jews in Egypt, according to the sages, did not make it out. They died during the plague of darkness. They apparently did not take the warning seriously, because although the warnings were manifest on the Egyptians, they were in full view of our Jewish brethren. So we need to be very, very careful what we do and what we say. And I've said a lot today, and I'm going to end up with just a short personal note. I want to wish you all a very, very Pesach Sameach, Aziz and Kosher Pesach. And I have to tell you, this is going to be my last shiur here at Chut Shel Chesed, at Breslev, Israel. It's hard for me to speak about it even, but I'm retiring. I know, I look too young to retire. But I'm 68 years old, and the time has come for me to move on and spend some time learning in the morning and spend some time with my Rebbitzin in the afternoon, because she's only had me now up till about 1:30 in the day, and then I'm gone till 11:30 at night. And she would like to have me home more. And as she reminded me, there's 7 years in a cycle, and I've been here for a little over 7 years. So she would like the next 7 years to be her 7 years, and I'm willing to give that to her. But I'm retiring from the yeshiva. I'm not retiring from life. Some of you might know that before I started doing shiurs online here at Breslev, Israel, I was doing them online and posting them on Facebook and on YouTube. I'm still going to be doing that. I'm just going to go back to that. So if you look for me on YouTube or on Facebook, my name is spelled Aharon. Dobinsky, Dobinsky, Aharon. I'd love it if you'd like to follow me still. That would be great. If you have questions, you can always leave them at the end of what I post. And I've got to tell you, it's been a great pleasure and a great honor that the yeshiva has given me to speak to you. I'll never forget it, and I'll never forget all of you. So please, if there's anything I can ever do, just let me know. You be well. Again, Aziz and Kosher Pesach, Pesach Sameach, and Kosher. Be well, my friends. All the best. God bless.